Good morning. I am up in my sanctuary sitting down. There's my box of art stuff. Here's my altar. I'm sitting on the floor. I'm cooling off. And I love it up here in my little room. I've got stuff I need to put away. There's my other office space and whatnot. It needs to be cleaned up. I've got stuff all over the place in there in my little library. Here I am. I'm tired. I've been up since 6, before 6 really. I woke up needing to, I don't know, I just woke up. I usually get up and do my prayers and stuff. This morning I had some dreams. I'm not sure. The dreams were, I had some people I knew in the dreams, some ministers was in it, a friend's little boy was in my dream, and he was running around and he was blessing people, and people were saying, come see this child, let him lay hands on you and touch you, and he will give you a blessing. But it wasn't, it was a friend of mine's youngest little boy, and he was with another person. He wasn't even with anybody of his family. He was with another priest, and his name's Chachi, and he's only about, Chachi is only about 4 years old right now, I think, and he was with someone else, and they were doing a yoga class, and it was like you had to get a ticket for this yoga class, and I so happened to get a ticket, and it's like I got the golden ticket. But before the class started, we were like in these gardens, and I went out to this garden, and in the garden was another friend of mine, and having a reception for a daughter's wedding, and the daughter looked so beautiful, and the friend said, I sent you an invitation to my daughter's wedding, but you may not have got it. And I said, well, I've been homeless for a little while, and I just got a house, and you may not have had the correct address. And he said, that's probably it. So I went up to the daughter, and I gave her a hug, and the new son-in-law, and it was an old friend of my, someone I knew, an acquaintance, friend of my parents, and I knew them, but I couldn't place the name. So you know how you do when you know people, but you can't place the name. You just kind of play along, and you go meet the family, and you go to each table, and you hug and kiss people, and say your hellos and stuff. But then I remembered, and I saw the cake and the presents and all, and looked over those things, and saw the cake was made out of like a thick brownie, and like blondie and brownie, and then it had a fluffy icing. I said, wow, I've got to make that sometime for somebody. And it was layered, like blondie brownie, the thick, and it was just totally different from a big fluffy cake. And then each person at each table had a nice cookie instead of cake. And so people got brownie instead of, brownie and cookie instead of cake. And I'm like, wow, that's a different idea. And then they had other stuff to eat. So, and then people started dancing and carrying on, and I'm like, I really don't know these people, and I need to get back to the yoga class. So when I went back into this rec center or this hall or something that was attached to these gardens, the people were about ready and lined up to go into this yoga class, but I had they were still waiting in line to get, but I had a special ticket, so I can just move on up to the beginning of the, line and show them my ticket and get in, and I was able to move right on up, and got one of those little cushions. I had my cushion and my mat and stuff, and get right up front, and you know, this little boy, he knew me, so he's like, Miss Katie, you know, and he came over and smiled and touched me and said, is your legs okay? And I said, yeah, my legs are fine. And he went on, and these other people were reaching out, wanting him to touch and get his healing touch or whatever kind of touch he had. And then they were looking at me like, who are you? You know, that you know this child. And I'm like, you know, just gave him a face, and I just went over and sat down. And then the other person or priest with him, you know, they went on and sat up front, and this little Chachi went and sat by him, and they were starting the yoga class, and you know, doing the poses and they, you know, movements and stuff. And then they had a little instruments and was singing some kirtan, and I sang and I meditated, and when, you know, stuff I could do and there's stuff I couldn't do, I just went along. And then there were people in the class that I knew and people I didn't know and stuff, and then after the class it went on to something else, and people dispersed, and I went out into the gardens, and people were still out there having the reception of the wedding, and I talked to some more people, and then it went on into some kind of golf thing. So, and I went out and watched the people play golf, and then it kind of got kind of funny, and I said, okay, this is a dream. It's one of those things where you realize you're in a dream, and your body talks to you, and it's like, I gotta wake up and go to the bathroom. So it was one of those things. So I woke up, and it was morning, and it was almost 6. So I went ahead and got up. So that was it for this morning. Good dream though. But I got up and went ahead and get ready for this, you know. Got so much done this morning. I worked outside. I got my breakfast, which took my medicines and my vitamins, and made me a protein drink, and said some prayers and did some chanting, and I worked down the basement, emptied some more boxes. The basement did get some water in it from the water from the air conditioning. The air conditioning people are supposed to come back and run some PC, you know, pipes, some of those pipes to drain the water, get the condensation water off the air conditioning, but they haven't come back to do that. So I'm going to have to get Andy to call them, my landlord, to come back and do that. And then there's a little water from the rain yesterday, and that soaked on some of the boxes, but not on anything that could be ruined. So got that, and then it's just like I started getting tired, and it's just like I heard a voice say, it's time to rest. So go up and rest. So here I am. I had a couple distractions along the way, but it's like, go rest now. So when it's like, go rest now, it is go rest now. So here I am. And the Spirit lets me know what kind of incense they want. So I got some copal, and I don't know, it smells so good. Some copal is pronounced copal, and you can see it a little bit going across. And I got my fan going, because the air conditioning comes up here, but the fans will disperse it a little bit, help it along. I'm going to get a small air conditioner to go up in the window. This room is kind of okay, especially with the fans, but the other room over there does get hot, so I have a fan facing outward so it can pull the air through, which makes it helpful. But come down here and meditate and sit for a while, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sit and I'm going to do a little bit of some more chanting and meditation and rest and do some more work. Thank you, Lord, for all your blessings.